What if I told you that caring less could change your life? Not in a careless, reckless way, but by releasing the things that drain your energy, steal your focus, and keep you stuck in fear. Most people are trapped in a cycle, constantly worrying about how others see them, overthinking every decision, and wasting energy chasing approval. And the result? Stress, anxiety, and a mind that never finds peace. But here's the truth. The less you care about things that don't matter, the more powerful you become. When you stop chasing validation, people respect you more. When you stop fearing failure, you take bold action. When you stop overanalyzing, you unlock mental clarity. This isn't about giving up. It's about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Stoic philosophy teaches us this powerful truth. True strength comes from mastering your mind, not from controlling the world. In this video, you'll discover why caring less isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. You'll learn how letting go can build confidence, boost mental clarity, and open doors you never imagined possible. If you're tired of feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, or stuck, stay with me. Because when you stop caring about what doesn't matter, everything that does will finally fall into place. 1. Confidence unlocked. Why not caring makes you stronger. Confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing you don't have to. The moment you stop trying to impress everyone, you unlock a power most people never find, the power to stand firm in your own truth. Think about the most confident people you've ever met. They aren't the ones constantly explaining themselves. They don't waste time defending their choices or seeking approval. Instead, they speak clearly, act decisively, and move forward without hesitation. Why? Because they've learned a vital truth. Caring too much about what others think is the fastest way to lose yourself. When you obsess over how you're perceived, you surrender your power. You second-guess your words, hesitate in your decisions, and shrink to fit in. The result? You silence your true thoughts, sacrifice your real values, and let fear dictate your actions. But when you stop caring about judgment, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. Suddenly, you speak your mind with ease. You set boundaries without guilt. You pursue what excites you without asking for permission. People respect those who stand firm, not those who chase validation. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said it best. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That's the key. The moment you stop being afraid of looking foolish is the moment you set yourself free. Confidence isn't built by proving you're perfect. It's built by embracing imperfection without shame. Imagine walking into a room filled with strangers. Most people spend those first few moments analyzing the room. Do I look okay? Am I saying the right thing? What if they think I'm boring? But the person who stands out is never the one drowning in self-doubt. It's the one who's relaxed, present, and unbothered by judgment. That calm presence commands respect. And here's the truth. People are drawn to those who own their space. When you stop apologizing for who you are, you give others permission to do the same. And that's magnetic. Of course, this isn't about ignoring feedback or dismissing constructive criticism. It's about learning to separate what matters from what doesn't. Ask yourself this: am I quiet right now because I disagree or because I'm afraid? If fear is the reason, that's your signal to speak up. Confidence grows every time you trust yourself enough to stand by your words. The more you do it, the stronger you become. Don't waste energy trying to control how others see you. Instead, focus on living in alignment with your values and let respect follow naturally. There's power in detachment. When you no longer need approval to feel worthy, you become the kind of person people can't help but respect. You move through life with calm certainty. You stop chasing and start attracting. Picture this. You're in a meeting. Someone challenges your idea, not because they're right, but because they want to undermine you. Most people would rush to defend themselves, eager to justify every detail. But the most powerful move? Staying calm. Let silence do the heavy lifting. When you resist the urge to react, you prove that you're not easily shaken. And that's powerful. Seneca, another Stoic master, understood this well. He wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." In other words, the less you react, the stronger you appear. Detachment isn't a weakness. It's a strength in its purest form. Here's a simple truth most people overlook. Confidence doesn't come from convincing others. It comes from trusting yourself. The next time you hesitate to speak your mind, pause. Ask yourself, am I holding back because I doubt myself or because I doubt their response? If your fear is rooted in the opinions of others, it's time to let go. Every time you choose to act despite discomfort, you strengthen your inner confidence. Each time you refuse to beg for approval, you reinforce your own worth. Over time, this habit creates unshakable self-trust, and that's the foundation of true power. Stop trying to win everyone over. You don't need to convince the world, you only need to convince yourself. Because when you own your presence without apology, you become the kind of person people can't ignore. 2. Be the guy everyone respects. By caring less. Respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you command. And the harder you try to demand it, the less you receive. People who constantly chase respect rarely get it. Why? Because respect doesn't come from desperation, it comes from quiet strength. The more you cling to approval, the weaker you appear. But the moment you stop seeking validation, the moment you stop bending to fit others' expectations, you unlock a presence that demands respect without a single word. Think about it. Who are the people you admire most? Are they the ones always explaining themselves? Are they the ones who jump to defend their every move? No. The people you respect are the ones who carry themselves with calm certainty, the ones who know who they are and refuse to compromise their values just to win favor. When you stop caring about what doesn't matter, you make room for what does. Instead of chasing praise, you focus on your actions. Instead of proving your worth, you let your results speak for you. This is what separates the respected from the forgotten. Imagine this. You're in a heated conversation and someone challenges your point. Most people panic. They rush to defend themselves, trying to win the argument at all costs. But the person who commands respect doesn't react that way. Instead, they pause. They listen, and when they do respond, it's measured, calm, and deliberate. No panic, no desperation, just quiet control. And that calmness speaks louder than any argument ever could. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius understood this well. He once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the key. Strength doesn't come from controlling others, it comes from mastering yourself. The more you stay calm under pressure, the more powerful you appear. And the stronger your presence, the more people naturally respect you. But there's something deeper here. Something most people miss. True respect comes from being rooted in your values. When you know what matters to you, when you refuse to compromise your principles, people notice. They may not agree with you, but they will respect you. The mistake many people make is believing they must win every argument to gain respect. But the truth is, respect doesn't come from being the loudest voice in the room. It comes from being the most certain one. People respect those who don't flinch when criticized, those who stay composed when challenged, and those who stand firm when others waver. Here's where detachment becomes your greatest advantage. When you stop reacting to every opinion, you become immune to manipulation. People lose control over you the moment you stop caring about their approval. And that freedom makes you powerful. Picture yourself in a difficult situation. A coworker undermines you in front of others. Most people would feel the urge to strike back to correct the narrative immediately. But what if you didn't? What if you stayed calm, held your ground, and let silence speak for you? That silence is powerful. It unsettles people. It forces them to question their own behavior. And more importantly, it shows that you're not easily rattled. People respect those who refuse to be dragged into pointless conflict. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, once said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." In other words, the moment you react emotionally, you hand your power over to someone else. But when you choose detachment, when you resist the urge to defend yourself, you break free from their control. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about everything. It means you stop caring about the things that weaken you. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening. You stop arguing with those who only want to provoke you. And you stop wasting energy trying to win over people who refuse to respect you. Instead, you focus on what you can control. your actions, your mindset, and your responses. That's where real strength comes from. Every time you choose silence over confrontation, you reinforce your power. Every time you refuse to overreact, you build unshakable control. But here's the truth most people never learn. The moment you stop trying to be respected is the moment you start commanding it. When you no longer need approval, you radiate confidence. When you no longer chase respect, it follows you naturally. So the next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain yourself. Stay calm. Let your actions do the talking. And when you do speak, speak with purpose. No over-explaining, no apologizing for your values. Just clear, deliberate words rooted in self-trust. That's what makes people pay attention. That's what makes people respect you. The strongest person in the room isn't the one shouting the loudest. It's the one who knows when to stay silent. 3. The secret weapon of successful people: letting go. Success doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from mastering what you can and releasing what you can't. The sooner you realize that, the stronger you become. Most people waste their energy trying to force outcomes. They obsess over what others might say, what could go wrong, or how to avoid failure. But here's the truth. Control is an illusion. No matter how much you plan, life will always throw unexpected challenges your way. And the harder you fight to control everything, the more resistance you create. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means focusing on what's within your power. It's the art of knowing when to act and when to step back. The moment you embrace this mindset, life flows more naturally. I once knew a man named Daniel, a sharp, driven entrepreneur. He built his entire career on control. He micromanaged everything: his team, his schedule, even the way his coffee was made. He believed if he tightened his grip on every detail, he could force success to happen. But over time, control turned into an obsession. He became exhausted, constantly stressed, and frustrated when things didn't go according to plan. Then one day, everything fell apart. His biggest client walked away, his staff felt suffocated, and his personal life was in chaos. That's when Daniel finally faced a hard truth. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't control everything. So he made a choice. He let go. He stopped micromanaging his team and trusted them to take ownership. He stopped obsessing over outcomes and focused on doing his best in the present moment. And something remarkable happened. His business started thriving. His team became more productive. Opportunities that once seemed impossible began unfolding on their own. Not because he forced them, but because he stopped forcing them. That's the power of letting go. When you stop grasping for control, you create space for better things to enter. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus once said, "Some things are up to us and some are not. Focus only on what you can control, and you will find peace." This wisdom is life-changing. When you fixate on what's out of your hands, people's opinions, unexpected outcomes, or random misfortune, you invite stress and frustration. But when you shift your focus to what's within your control, your effort, your mindset, your response, you regain your power. Imagine facing a major setback, a failed project, a broken relationship, or an opportunity slipping away. Most people respond with panic. They replay what went wrong, obsess over what could have been done differently, and spiral deeper into anxiety. But that mindset traps you in the past, a place you can't change. The smarter move? Focus on what's still in your control. Ask yourself, what can I do right now? That's where your power lies. I remember a friend named Marcus who experienced this firsthand. He spent months preparing for a big promotion. He worked late nights, exceeded every target, and built strong connections with his team. But when the decision came, they gave the role to someone else, someone with less experience but better connections. Marcus was furious. He wanted to confront his boss, demand an explanation, and prove he deserved the role. But instead, he paused. He reminded himself of what was and wasn't in his control. He couldn't change the decision, but he could control his response. So he stayed professional, continued delivering his best work, and refused to let bitterness control him. 6 months later, that same manager left, and Marcus was offered the role. His calm composure had earned him far more respect than any outburst ever could. That's the power of detachment. When you stop fighting what you can't control, you gain strength where it matters most, in your actions, your focus, and your mindset. Seneca once wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." He was right. The more you scatter your energy trying to control every outcome, the less power you have to influence what truly matters. But when you simplify your focus, when you learn to release what's out of your hands, you regain control of yourself. Here's how you can start. The next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself one simple question: what part of this is truly in my control? Identify that and forget the rest. Focus your energy on what you can influence and let everything else unfold as it will. When you embrace this mindset, you stop wasting time fighting losing battles. You stop obsessing over things that won't change. And most importantly, you learn to trust the process, knowing that by controlling yourself, you've already done enough. The world doesn't reward those who panic, overthink, or obsess. It rewards those who act, those who focus on what they can control and release the rest. When you let go of what you can't control, you free yourself from frustration, anxiety, and stress. And that's when life starts working for you, not against you. Because the moment you stop clinging so tightly, everything finally falls into place. 4. Free your mind and watch opportunities knock. Your mind is your greatest weapon, but only when it's clear. When your thoughts are cluttered with doubt, fear, and endless overthinking, you sabotage your own potential. Overthinking is like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. It slows you down, drains your energy, and keeps you stuck. The more you analyze every outcome, the harder it becomes to make decisions. And while you're busy second-guessing yourself, opportunities slip away unnoticed. This is why successful people think less and act more. They know that clarity comes from trusting their instincts, not obsessing over every possible scenario. They understand that mental clutter paralyzes progress. When your mind is overwhelmed, even the simplest decisions feel impossible. You replay conversations in your head. You analyze what went wrong and predict what could go wrong next. But here's the truth. Most of the things you worry about will never happen. And the few that do, they rarely unfold the way you imagined. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you control your mind and refuse to let useless worries consume you, you gain the clarity and strength to face whatever life throws your way. That's the key. Strength isn't about controlling everything. It's about mastering your focus. When you clear your mind of pointless worries, you gain the mental clarity to see real opportunities. Think of your mind like a cluttered room. When everything's scattered, papers everywhere, piles of mess in every corner, you can't find what you need. But when you clear away the excess, suddenly everything becomes easier. You move freely, think clearly, and focus on what truly matters. The same applies to your thoughts. When you stop overanalyzing, your mind opens up. Ideas flow naturally, solutions appear faster, and decisions, once overwhelming, become simple. The challenge is this: most people are addicted to overthinking. They believe if they just analyze a little more, they'll avoid failure. But overthinking doesn't prevent mistakes, it creates hesitation. And hesitation kills progress. Imagine you're offered a new opportunity, a job, a relationship, or a chance to try something different. The overthinker will freeze. They'll ask, what if I'm not ready? What if I fail? What if this isn't the right time? And while they're stuck questioning, someone else, someone who trusts their instincts, steps forward and seizes the moment. That's the real danger of overthinking. It steals your confidence, limits your growth, and convinces you that waiting is safer than acting. Epictetus warned against this trap. He said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our view of those things." In other words, your mind creates most of the problems you face. It amplifies doubt, magnifies fear, and keeps you fixated on problems that don't exist. But when you train your mind to let go of useless thoughts, you create space for something better: clarity, focus, and decisive action. The solution is simple. Learn to filter your thoughts. Whenever your mind spirals with doubt, ask yourself one question: is this thought helpful? If the answer is no, let it go. Worrying about what others think? Let it go. Replaying past mistakes? Let it go. Overanalyzing decisions you've already made? Let it go. These thoughts serve no purpose. They only drain your energy. Instead, focus on what's actionable. What can you do right now that moves you forward? What's within your control? Shift your mind from endless analysis to intentional action. The most powerful minds understand this. Clarity doesn't come from knowing every answer. It comes from trusting yourself enough to act without certainty. And here's where Stoic wisdom becomes your greatest tool. The Stoics didn't believe in eliminating fear. They believed in acting despite it. They knew that courage isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision to move forward anyway. The next time you find yourself spiraling into overthinking, pause. Remind yourself that no amount of analysis can predict the future. The only thing you can control is what you choose to do next. Decide and act. Not because you're sure it will work, but because hesitation will destroy your confidence faster than any mistake ever could. When you stop drowning in thought, you start trusting your instincts. You notice opportunities others overlook. You move faster, achieve more, and experience life fully, without the weight of endless mental noise. Your mind is powerful, but only when you free it from what doesn't matter. So stop wasting energy on what's beyond your control. Focus on what's in front of you. Think less, act more, and watch your life begin to transform. 5. Forget perfection. Master the art of self-acceptance. Perfection is a lie, and chasing it will ruin you. The constant need to be flawless doesn't build strength. It destroys it. When you obsess over perfection, you trap yourself in fear. Fear of failing, fear of looking foolish, fear of not meeting impossible standards. And that fear paralyzes you. It stops you from taking action, from speaking up, from risking growth. The truth is, those who succeed aren't the ones who avoid mistakes. They're the ones who embrace them. Every person who has achieved anything meaningful has stumbled along the way. But instead of obsessing over those failures, they moved forward. Imperfect, but unstoppable. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't waste time arguing what a good man should be. Just be one." He wasn't talking about being perfect. He was talking about progress. The willingness to act, to improve, to move forward, even when you're uncertain. Too often, people hold themselves back because they're terrified of imperfection. They tell themselves, "I'll start when I'm ready. I'll speak up when I know exactly what to say. I'll act when I feel confident." But that day never comes, because confidence isn't built through endless preparation. It's built through action, even messy, imperfect action. Perfection isn't the goal, progress is. And progress comes from embracing the uncomfortable truth that you will fail. You will make mistakes. You will get it wrong sometimes. But that's exactly how you grow. The Stoics knew this well. They believed that mistakes were never final, unless you refused to learn from them. Failure, in their eyes, was never a reason to stop. It was a reason to start again, wiser and stronger. When you let go of perfection, you start to realize that mistakes aren't your enemy. They're your greatest teachers. Every misstep shows you what doesn't work. Every setback reveals a flaw you can improve. And every failure, if handled correctly, sharpens your resilience. The key is learning how to respond. Instead of beating yourself up when things go wrong, ask yourself one powerful question. What can I learn from this? That question shifts your mind from frustration to focus. It stops you from spiraling into regret and pushes you toward improvement. The danger lies in letting mistakes define you. People who chase perfection see failure as proof they're not good enough, as evidence that they should give up. But people who understand growth see failure for what it really is, feedback. It's not a dead end, it's a detour guiding you toward a better path. Seneca warned against the trap of self-punishment. He wrote, "No man was ever wise by chance." Wisdom doesn't come from getting everything right the first time. It comes from failing, reflecting, and adjusting. The more you allow yourself to fail, the faster you grow. But there's something deeper here, something most people overlook. The more you accept your imperfections, the more powerful you become. People are drawn to authenticity, not perfection. When you stop pretending to have it all figured out, when you show up as you are, flaws and all, you build trust, you become relatable, and most importantly, you become free. There's a reason confident people rarely seem desperate. They're not chasing impossible standards. They're embracing their humanity. They know they'll stumble. They know they'll face setbacks. and they've learned to be okay with that. That calm self-acceptance makes them magnetic. The next time you feel paralyzed by doubt, the fear that you're not ready, not smart enough, not capable enough, remember this: perfection isn't the goal, improvement is. Start now, before you're ready. Speak up, even if your voice shakes. Take action, even if it feels messy. Because real confidence isn't about being flawless, it's about trusting yourself to figure things out along the way. Mistakes won't break you, but waiting for perfection will. The longer you delay, the harder it becomes to start. So let go of the fantasy that everything must be perfect. Instead, focus on progress, however small. Because every step forward, no matter how imperfect, is a step closer to the person you're meant to become. Progress beats perfection. Every time. 6. How to win in life without overthinking every move. Overthinking is a silent killer, a thief that robs you of confidence, clarity, and momentum. It convinces you that if you just analyze a little longer, you'll make the perfect move. But in reality, the longer you hesitate, the more you sabotage yourself. People who achieve real success don't wait for perfect certainty. They act, even when they're unsure. They know that overanalyzing doesn't create better outcomes. It creates paralysis. The mind plays tricks on you. When faced with a decision, your thoughts spiral. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if this isn't the right path? The more you dwell on these doubts, the louder they become. And soon, you're trapped, stuck between endless scenarios, each one more overwhelming than the last. The Stoics knew this trap well. They believed overthinking wasn't just wasted time, it was wasted life. Cleanthus, one of the early Stoic thinkers, warned against this mental loop. He taught that mental stillness, the ability to quiet your mind and focus only on what matters, was the key to clear thinking and decisive action. I once knew someone named Andrew, a talented designer with incredible ideas. But he was a victim of his own mind. Every time he faced a new opportunity, he froze. He'd analyze every angle, predict every possible failure, and convince himself he wasn't ready. He wanted everything to be perfect: his portfolio, his pitch, his timing. So he kept waiting. Weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. Eventually, the opportunities dried up. Not because he lacked talent, but because he spent so long thinking that others took action before him. One day, after losing yet another opportunity, Andrew realized something. He wasn't failing because he was unprepared. He was failing because he refused to start. So he changed his approach. Instead of drowning in endless analysis, he committed to one rule: make a decision within 10 seconds, no matter how uncomfortable it felt. The first time he tried it, he felt his mind racing, doubting, questioning, second-guessing. But instead of pausing to analyze, he acted. And for the first time in years, things started to change. He landed new clients, his confidence grew, and the more he trusted himself, the less he relied on overthinking. That's the power of action. Clarity doesn't come from thinking things to death. It comes from movement. When you act, you gain feedback. When you move forward, you uncover the right path. Even if you stumble at first. Overthinkers believe hesitation keeps them safe, but it's the opposite. The longer you wait, the more your doubts multiply. What starts as a simple decision spirals into endless uncertainty. Before you know it, you've convinced yourself to stay exactly where you are, stuck in fear, stuck in hesitation, stuck in your head. The smarter move? Stop feeding your doubts. When your mind begins to spiral, break the cycle with action. Ask yourself one simple question: what's the next step I can take right now? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't chase the perfect answer. Just take one step, however small. Epictetus warned about the dangers of hesitation. He said, if you want to be better, be willing to look like a fool. That's the part most people avoid. They fear looking foolish, so they keep waiting. Waiting for certainty, waiting for confidence, waiting for a perfect plan. But in the end, they're just waiting for a life they'll never live. I remember a woman named Rachel who faced this firsthand. She'd always wanted to start her own business, but fear kept her frozen. She worried she wasn't experienced enough, skilled enough, or ready enough. Every time she tried to take the first step, her mind filled with doubts. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? And so she waited. But eventually, she realized that her hesitation wasn't protecting her. It was paralyzing her. So she stopped waiting to feel ready and just started. Her first attempt wasn't perfect. She stumbled, made mistakes, and doubted herself constantly. But each misstep gave her more clarity. Each mistake taught her something new. And the more she moved forward, the stronger she became. That's the power of action. The more you move, the more your doubts lose their grip. Confidence isn't something you think your way into. It's something you build by facing discomfort head-on. The key is learning to trust yourself. Even when you don't feel ready. Stop asking endless questions, stop predicting every outcome, and stop waiting for everything to feel perfect, because it never will. Instead, commit to this. When in doubt, act. Even if you're unsure, even if you're afraid, even if you can't see the whole path yet. Action destroys anxiety faster than any amount of thinking ever could. Because the truth is, most decisions aren't as dangerous as your mind tells you. Most failures aren't permanent. And most mistakes won't ruin you. But waiting? That will. Every time you delay, you miss an opportunity to grow, to learn, to move forward. Stop overthinking. Trust yourself enough to take the next step, and watch how quickly your life starts to change. 7. Why control is killing your happiness and what to do instead. Control feels safe, but in reality, it's an illusion. The more you cling to control, the more anxious, frustrated, and exhausted you become. People believe that by controlling every detail, they can guarantee success. They plan every move, predict every outcome, and prepare for every scenario. But life doesn't work that way. And the harder you try to force things into place, the more they resist. The truth is, most of what happens in life is beyond your control. You can't control other people's opinions. You can't control unexpected setbacks. You can't control how others behave or how situations unfold. And when you try to control the uncontrollable, you only create stress. That's why Stoic philosophy emphasizes one simple truth. Power comes not from controlling the world, but from mastering your response to it. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, believed that true peace begins when you learn to release what's out of your hands. He taught that the more you resist reality, the more you suffer. Instead of battling what you can't change, he encouraged acceptance, not as weakness, but as wisdom. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. You can shout, curse, or pound your steering wheel, but none of it will move the cars. The traffic isn't in your control, but your reaction is. You can waste your energy fighting what you can't change, or you can accept the situation and focus on what's still within your power. This mindset applies to everything. When relationships break down, when plans fall apart, or when life throws you an unexpected curveball, you face a choice. Waste your energy trying to force things back into place, or shift your focus to what you can control. There's freedom in knowing where your power ends. When you stop demanding that life unfold exactly as you wish, you experience something most people never find: peace. But letting go doesn't mean doing nothing. It means learning to focus only on what's within your control. Your effort, your mindset, your actions. It's the courage to act where you have power and the wisdom to release what you don't. Seneca once wrote, "The mind that is anxious about future events is miserable." He understood that most anxiety isn't rooted in reality. It's rooted in our desperate attempt to control things we can't predict. The future is always uncertain, and the more you try to control it, the more you torment yourself with fear. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting your energy where it belongs. When you stop micromanaging everything, you create mental space for clarity, focus, and calm. Instead of reacting to every problem with panic, you respond with purpose. The next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself one simple question. Am I trying to control something I can't? If the answer is yes, release it. Then ask, what can I influence right now? Focus on that and forget the rest. This shift isn't easy. The mind craves certainty. It wants to believe that if you just try harder, plan better, or worry longer, you can control every outcome. But that mindset only breeds frustration. The real strength lies in learning when to step back. When you stop chasing control, you gain something far more powerful: the ability to remain calm no matter what happens. You develop the mental clarity to adapt when things go wrong. And instead of wasting energy fighting reality, you learn to focus on what actually matters: your actions, your mindset, and your attitude. This mindset doesn't just reduce stress, it opens new doors. When you stop forcing outcomes, better ones often unfold naturally. When you stop clinging to how things should be, you create space for what they could be. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." That's the truth most people overlook. Real freedom isn't found in controlling everything, but in mastering the ability to let go. When you stop resisting what you can't change, you gain power over what you can. When you stop chasing control, you gain control over yourself. And when you master yourself, your focus, your actions, your response, you no longer need to control the world. You move through life calm, focused, and untouchable. So stop wasting energy on what's beyond your reach. Focus on what's in front of you. Control your thoughts, control your reactions, control how you show up, and let the rest unfold. Because the moment you stop trying to control everything, you finally start to feel free. Embrace uncertainty and watch your success skyrocket. Uncertainty terrifies most people. It's uncomfortable, unpredictable, and feels dangerous. So they avoid it, clinging to routine, chasing guarantees, and resisting anything they can't predict. But here's the truth. Avoiding uncertainty doesn't protect you, it limits you. People who achieve real success don't fear the unknown, they embrace it. They understand that uncertainty isn't a threat, it's an opportunity. Every new path, every major breakthrough, and every bold decision is born from stepping into the unknown. The mind hates uncertainty because it craves control. It wants to predict, prepare, and guarantee success before taking action. But life doesn't work that way. No matter how much you plan, unexpected twists will always appear. And the more you try to resist that reality, the more stuck you become. Instead of fearing uncertainty, the Stoics believed you should lean into it. They knew that success doesn't come from avoiding the unknown. It comes from having the courage to face it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." He understood something powerful. Most of what happens in life is indifferent. Circumstances don't care how you feel about them. The future won't unfold the way you expect, and that's exactly why you must be flexible enough to adapt. Think about it. The biggest opportunities in life often appear when you least expect them. A conversation that changes your career, a chance encounter that sparks a new relationship, a setback that reveals a better path. None of these moments can be predicted. They only happen when you step forward without knowing exactly what's ahead. The mistake most people make is waiting until they feel ready, until the timing is perfect, until every risk has been eliminated. But waiting doesn't create certainty, it creates regret. The longer you hesitate, the more you convince yourself that playing small is safer than taking a chance. Uncertainty isn't the enemy, stagnation is. When you refuse to step into the unknown, you trade growth for comfort, and comfort doesn't build strength. The solution isn't to erase uncertainty, it's to develop the mindset that thrives in it. The Stoics believed that mental strength comes from learning to trust yourself, even when the outcome is unknown. They knew that real courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act despite it. The next time you face an uncertain choice, resist the urge to analyze it to death. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, your mind will imagine disaster, failure, embarrassment, or rejection. But ask yourself this, and what if I recover? Because the truth is, you will. Even if things go wrong, you'll survive. And more importantly, you'll gain something far more valuable, experience. Seneca put it best when he said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The longer you hesitate, the harder things seem. The more you delay, the more your mind fills with doubt. But when you take action, even a small step, the fear shrinks. Uncertainty stops feeling like a threat and starts to feel like possibility. Successful people train themselves to see uncertainty differently. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What if this works?" Instead of fixating on worst-case scenarios, they focus on what they can gain. And that shift in mindset gives them the courage to move forward, even without guarantees. This mindset doesn't just apply to major decisions, it's a daily practice. Embracing uncertainty means accepting that you won't always have the right answer, that mistakes are part of growth, and that discomfort is the price of progress. When you develop this mindset, you stop being paralyzed by doubt. You start trusting yourself more. You recognize that you don't need to know everything, you just need to know enough to begin. The greatest breakthroughs in life rarely come from perfect planning. They come from stepping forward before you feel ready. The career move you've been avoiding, the conversation you've been putting off, the risk you've been too afraid to take. Those are the moments that change everything, but only if you're willing to act. Because when you stop running from uncertainty, when you embrace it, you discover something powerful. The unknown isn't where things fall apart. It's where they fall into place. 9. Master the ultimate power move. Let life flow and work for you. Sometimes the smartest move isn't pushing harder, it's stepping back. People believe that success comes from constant effort, chasing, forcing, and controlling outcomes. But there's a hidden truth most people overlook. The biggest breakthroughs often happen when you stop forcing and start allowing. When you chase something desperately, whether it's success, relationships, or recognition, you create resistance. You push too hard, worry too much, and sabotage your own progress. The harder you try to force an outcome, the more elusive it becomes. But when you let go, when you trust your efforts and allow things to unfold, life often surprises you in ways you never expected. This isn't about being passive or giving up. It's about recognizing when action is necessary and when it's smarter to step back and let things align naturally. When you stop forcing outcomes, you allow space for better results to emerge. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that timing matters, and that knowing when not to act is just as powerful as knowing when to take action. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." The message is simple. Act where you can, but don't waste energy fighting what you can't control. When things don't move the way you expect, pause. Focus on what's still in your hands. Your discipline, your focus, your mindset. This shift changes everything. Instead of panicking when things go wrong, you develop calm patience. Instead of wasting energy chasing approval or forcing outcomes, you stay grounded, trusting that your actions will create results in their own time. This mindset creates something powerful, presence. When you're no longer desperate for results, you gain control over yourself. And when you control yourself, you naturally attract better outcomes. Think about it. The most influential people, leaders, thinkers, and those with magnetic confidence, rarely seem desperate. They aren't constantly chasing. Instead, they remain calm, collected, and focused. They know their value, and they trust that what's meant for them will arrive in time. Seneca warned against excessive striving. He believed that obsession with outcomes clouds your judgment, making you blind to better opportunities that appear when you least expect them. He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary. Most people waste time worrying about things that haven't happened yet, exhausting themselves over problems that might never come. But when you stop obsessing about outcomes, you free yourself to focus on what matters, improving your skills, sharpening your mind, and becoming stronger. This mindset doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop controlling. Instead of anxiously watching the clock, you focus on the work. Instead of chasing validation, you focus on improving yourself. Instead of forcing success, you focus on becoming the kind of person success naturally gravitates toward. This shift creates a powerful paradox. The less you chase, the more you attract. When you focus on mastering your craft, not on chasing results, you draw opportunities to you. When you stop trying to control relationships and focus instead on showing up as your best self, deeper connections form. And when you stop obsessing over what others think, you gain the respect that desperate people rarely receive. The key is patience, not passive waiting, but calm confidence. It's trusting that your efforts, combined with the right timing, will produce better results than panic ever could. Next time you find yourself pushing too hard, forcing a conversation, overworking yourself, or chasing an outcome that refuses to happen, Pause. Step back. Ask yourself, have I done my part? If the answer is yes, stop pushing. Trust that what's meant for you will align when the time is right. There's wisdom in letting go. When you release the need to control everything, you unlock something far more powerful: peace of mind. And when your mind is calm, you make smarter decisions, seize better opportunities, and attract what others waste energy chasing. You don't need to force everything into place. Focus on what you can control, and let the rest unfold. Because when you stop chasing, life has a way of bringing the right things to you. Life has a way of testing you, pushing you to chase, to control, to overthink. But real strength doesn't come from forcing outcomes, it comes from mastering yourself. When you stop caring about what doesn't matter, you gain the freedom to focus on what does. When you stop chasing respect, you earn it naturally. When you release the need for control, you find clarity and peace. And when you embrace uncertainty, you open yourself to opportunities you never expected. The Stoics understood this truth, that the key to mental strength lies in learning when to hold on and when to let go. But this mindset isn't built overnight. It's something you practice daily. Each time you speak your truth without seeking approval, your confidence grows. Each time you resist the urge to overthink, your mind becomes clearer. Each time you trust yourself enough to act, even when you feel unsure, you become stronger. Start small. The next time you feel the urge to defend yourself, pause. When anxiety tempts you to control something beyond your reach, step back. When fear tells you to wait for perfect certainty, move forward anyway. These small moments, practiced daily, create lasting change. Over time, you'll notice that you're calmer, sharper, and less easily shaken. Your mind will become your greatest ally, clear, focused, and unbreakable. If you've ever experienced a moment when letting go brought unexpected success or clarity, I'd love to hear your story. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your experience may inspire someone who's still searching for their own breakthrough.